And that brings us to my favorite part of today's show, the Auspicious Op-Ed. I composed some words for everyone. I found them to be quite meaningful to myself, and I hope that they mean something to you all. And I really hope that it inspires you to compose your own words and share them, because they're trying to silence us right now, and we need to share all the positivity and information and good stuff that we can with one another and show them who's really in charge around here, which is us humans. This op-ed is titled, "This is a battle for our sentience, not merely our lives or souls, as it affects all organic life." I'm going to start us off by reading a short excerpt to begin. Let's state our givens for our logic proof, I guess. So I'm going to read an excerpt to give us our givens, and I quote: "Sentient." Oh, this came from sentientmedia.org. Sentient is an adjective that describes a capacity for feeling. The word sentient derives from the Latin verb sentire, which means to feel. The first letters, sen, match the beginnings of common English words, including sentiment, sensory, and sensation, all of which give hints as to the meaning of the term. In dictionary definition, sentience is described as able to experience feelings, responsive to or conscious of sense impressions, and capable of feeling things through physical senses. Sentient beings experience wanted emotions like happiness, joy, and gratitude, and unwanted emotions in the form of pain, suffering, and grief. Now that we have defined our terms, end quote. Now that we have defined our terms, let us delve into the powers that be, into what the powers that be are interested in regarding the manipulation, adulteration, and destruction of both sentience and sentient life in hopes of inflicting their transhumanist agenda without ethical consequence or recourse, under a paradigm where sentience in and of itself has been preemptively eradicated or compromised as an act of man, machine, science, or the state. Have you ever wondered how the stagnant, sterile, and stratified proponents of systems, industry, and theory circumvented and surpassed God-given inalienable rights? Did you happen to notice the dial being turned up ever so subtly with delicate finesse on numbing, hyperstimulating, and traumatic sensory experiences as history has marched along? While we're on this timeline of analysis, did anyone else also happen to notice the steadily increasing onslaught of environmental contaminants, ranging from malevolently low vibratory social cancers like the lizard people and their flying monkeys, drones, and cronies, multiple forms of direct energy weaponry, heavy poisoning of our air, water, flora, and fauna, covert enslavement, thought reform, and surveillance, increasingly required credentials and roadblocks to independence and self-sufficiency. And let us not forget all the psyops that have turned what should be a delightful and peaceful existence into the most exploitative, torturous, and murderous charade or masquerade, probably a combination of the two, that any dark entity could possibly construe. I've noticed all of these things for a very long time. I remember it being glaringly obvious by age 7 or 8 that what goes on for the everyday person and what is required to survive in our culture is the most undignified, dehumanizing display of covetous envy that cosplays as an ambitious student, worker, or authority figure. Without attacking our sentience from conception, would they have ever made many of the perverse and savage decisions that have hailed since exploration and industrialization? If you've been watching this podcast for any period of time, you already know that I am not the most fond of anyone devoted to political allegiances of any kind in any way. While I do understand and acknowledge that there has been types of advancements from these movements, they never have been lasting or made a true improvement for the people they claim to be considering. I believe this is because the first thing the political types seem to immediately disacknowledge is sentience as a concern or a human right. They don't care about our sentience. They don't care about what we experience or what we feel. I believe sentience is a right to all organically sentient life, as God created it. But that means that I respect sentient life and its divine rights, while these people wish to employ any and all mechanisms to invalidate the meaning and importance of sentience and sentient life as a whole. You can't reduce us to a bunch of haphazard cyborgs without first justifying that it is for the greater good. So first, this bunch must unleash historic revisions, thought reform, penalization for not meeting their social engineering goals at a bare minimum. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I don't know why anyone would want a government authority or any type of ruling body when they are trying to do some of the most grotesque crimes imaginable against God, humanity, and all sentient life, with the sole intent of reducing our inherent pricelessness to fit their narratives and illusions that power their false matrix of 3D distractions and entanglements. Let's take a little time to talk about how they manufacture consent with low vibration behaviors, like rewarding compliance, flattery of the competitive amongst the compliant, penalizing independence, questioning, and dissent, peer pressure or struggle sessions from those who perceive themselves as powerful, threats, fear, intimidation, slander, libel, silencing, canceling, digital exile, banning, debanking. Let me sum that up into one word: genocide. This isn't just any genocide. It is the ultimate genocide, where they wish to put their trademark or patent on anything that is permitted to live under their terms, which are worse than that of death by default. No benevolent, moral, and ethical being could hold or conform to the beliefs that they rely on us upholding to keep destroying our homes and families for their benefit. Well, I am here to tell you that I understand that it is always darkest before the dawn. So dawn must be upon us in a most short order. We are in a war for our sentience, and that is the main priority we must keep in the forefront of all the hysteria, drama, and circus they try to deregulate us and get us all out of balance over, as they anxiously await monopolizing off all the dysfunction they triggered and chaos that they created. I've gotten pretty good at mentally overcoming their games, and I believe you can too, with information, understanding, and some practice. Keep your heads up, party people, because boy, are we going to celebrate once we restore balance and reason to our realm. How long did a bunch of incarnate fallen angels and their demonically possessed support staff think we were going to keep being polite and tolerant this long after they have seriously worn out their welcome and any benefit they could have possibly provided? The proof is in the pudding, and the emperor is butt-ass naked in a most compromised position. Let's keep glitching, shattering, and demolishing the notion of this illusory matrix they keep casting in hopes that we offer up our sentience on a silver platter, wrapped up with a bow for a few trinkets or under threat of penalty. Let them know we are sick of being insulted, undermined, and abused, so that they get firmly clear in every part of their being that we do not need nor want their presence in any society or civilization we are a member of. Inclusion is the trap of genocidal, shape-shifting, dark entities. Do not fall for it, everyone. And that wraps up today's show.